Everything, you know, no, we didn't have to go through customs again or anything like that, so we just sort of collected my luggage and then piled into the company bus and was whisked 45 miles down the road, no, 45 kilometres down the road to Kamis Mushayat. I still can't say that word. Kamis Mushayat, that's right. Where the hospital is, well, it's just outside of Kamis Mushayat. The hospital itself is on a military defence unit, therefore they have to be quite strict about who they let in. But once they saw the Whittaker bus, they sort of just waved us on, sort of thing. We went into the base. And then Clay and Chris took me to the restaurant, thinking I would be hungry. Little did they know the meal I'd had at lunchtime. And we all went off to the restaurant in the hospital and had another Arabian meal. There's a hospital dining room, there's a hospital restaurant which is more expensive, and there's the snack bar over in the recreation room. So there's plenty of, well, there's a couple of places to go if you don't fancy doing any cooking yourself. If you want to go on a diet, you just don't eat. Trouble is, all the food looks so delicious, you've got to eat it, you know. I don't think I'm going to be losing any weight here. I was hoping to lose 2 stone, no chance. Especially drinking all this beer. Anyway, the beer here is called Schlitz, by the way. Schlitz. Not what you think I'm saying. Schlitz. Oh yes. After we finished dinner, then Clay and Chris took me over to the female apartments. It's an amazing place. It's like 3 2-story blocks of flats in the shape of a Y. And it's surrounded by a 7-foot-high wall, and there's a little guard sitting on the gate, a little Saudi man sitting on the gate to make sure that no men go in. Showed me to my apartment. So I opened the door, and that's when I sort of felt a bit off, because the walls were white and there was no, well, there was furniture here, but basic furniture. And I thought, goodness, I've got to spend 2 years here, you know. It really looked like a prison cell, but I've got a few things together now. It's beginning to look a bit more homely, so that's fine. Not really being homesick, really, just missing a few things and a few people. Aye, anyway. Let's see. Oh yeah, showed me into my room. And sort of said, right, you'll probably be wanting an early bed because you've got to be up early in the morning. Good grief, I was absolutely shattered. And I had to get up the next morning, my dear, at 7 a.m. to go to personnel at 7:30. And remember, we're 3 hours ahead of you. I'd already missed out on 3 hours sleep. It's been a pretty busy day, you know, the day before. Well, the 2 days before. So I was absolutely exhausted. I fell into bed and couldn't sleep. Anyway, got up the next morning, went over to personnel. And loads more documentation again, insurance and finance and payroll and getting passes for the gate and giving me all the gen on the base and what's that fella's name? Oh yeah. Oh, I just killed a beetle. Oh, nasty. The first one I've seen. Only a small one. Where was I? Oh yeah. The chap who I spoke to in personnel here again is Lebanese. There's quite a lot of Lebanese blokes here actually. Some of them have their wives and families with them. Anyway, Auni, that's his name. Auni. Showed me round the military base and told me what was off limits to us, you know, being military. They like to keep all their defence secret and what have you. So we didn't go anywhere near that part, but he showed me around the hospital parts and how to get to and from the main gate. And the apartments and the supermarkets and the libraries and everything else. And then he took me on a tour of the hospital. The hospital is really fantastic. When I arrived at the airport in Camise, Chris Hansen said to me that, don't expect the hotel to be really modern, by your standards. I think it's extremely backwards. Well, by my standards, after coming from The Simpsons, it's absolutely fantastic. It's even better than Crawley because it's all on one level. There's no stairs to climb. It's great. I love it. Hang on, I'm just going to look for my lighter. Where's it gone? Oh, I found it. Anyway, it showed me around the hospital. And then I went off duty there. It must have been about 3 o'clock by the time I finished. I got issued my uniform. The uniform's quite nice. It's a white trouser suit. That was quite small, so the thing is you have to wash them every day. You soon pick up the dirt and the blood and the goo. Let's see. Next day they gave me a day off. They thought I was looking a bit tired, so they gave me a day off. So I slept until 11 o'clock the next day. Oh, they had a few things in here when I arrived. They give me a loaf of bread, a jar of coffee and coffee mate, and a couple of bits and pieces, basic things really. Packed of cornflakes, some cheesy biscuits and things like that. So the next day I thought, well, I better go and do some shopping. I wanted some fruit and veg. So I went over to the shop. They didn't have any fruit and veg in our shop, the Whittaker shop. So they said, well, if you go to the Saudi commissary, which is the other word for shop here, you'll get something there. So I went over to the Saudi shop and, was chatting away to all these little Saudi men, They don't speak any English and I don't speak any Arabic, so it was quite good. Anyway, I got through with the help of my little language book, pointing at things and picking things up and saying yes. I just gave them the money. Goodness knows how much I paid, but I just gave them some money. Well, they gave us a present of, what was it, 500 reals, I think it was, on arrival. No, it wasn't that much. No, it wasn't 500. It was 250 reals, which is, I think, about £40. And that was just to cover expenses when we first arrived in Saudi, so I thought that was quite nice. £40, so just in your hand as soon as you arrive. God, made up. I felt rich. Little did I know it wouldn't last very long. Now, I'll give you an idea of some of the prices here. A jar of coffee cost 22 reals. And the 6.5 reals to the pound. So it's about $3.50 for a jar of coffee. $3.50 to $3.80 for a jar of coffee. The price varies according to where you shop. If you shop on the base, it's expensive because otherwise you have to go into Camise and go to the souk, which is the other word for the marketplace. And you buy them cheaper there, especially on a Thursday. That's a big market day there. So you really have to be quite careful about your spending, otherwise you spend a fortune and you don't realise it. Oh, excuse me, this beer is quite gassy. I'm trying to think of some other prices to tell you. One thing I've discovered here is very cheap are cassette tapes. The recorders are cheaper than Britain too, because there's no tax on them, of course, no tax at all here. I saw a stereo cassette recorder for £80 the other day, so as soon as my first paycheck comes through I'll probably buy one. I'll easily have that. It's about, so it must be about 800 reals, 850 reals. Well, that's over £100, isn't it? That's about £100. Still, it's a really good one, and it's bigger and better than the ones you get in Britain. Anyway, I'll let you know what type I get later on. I borrowed this one actually from a girl across the way. She's got two, so she'll let me borrow one of hers until I get one of my own. Pre-recorded tapes, and you can get anybody you want. They've got Peter Frampton, Andy Williams, oh nice, Gloria Gaynor, funky music, Barbara Streisand, which surprised me, and all sorts of tapes you can get pre-recorded for 8 reels, which is just about 120. So that's really cheap. Discovered they're not as good quality as British tapes, you know. They sometimes end in the middle of a song, or it says they've got about 12 recordings on them, and you find out that there's only 6 on them. But they're still, you can't complain for 120. I think they're quite good anyway. I've bought about 10 already. Got nothing else but my music at the minute. At night time anyway, when I've gone to my own room. The tape I'm playing now, it's a, well, you'll see it when it arrives, C60. That cost me 2 reels, which is about 35, 40p. 1 reel is 27p. Yeah, 27p for 1 reel. No, was it 17? Anyway, work it out, 6.5 to the pound. Other idea of prices. Washing powder is terribly expensive here. You know, a large box, the kind that Peter buys from Macro, must cost about £2 there. Costs £6 here. Really, I think that's a bit much just for washing powder. Because remember, the Saudis produce practically nothing at all themselves. Everything has to be imported from Europe or America or other countries, you know. They produce practically nothing at all. I don't know what the poor folk live on. Let's see. I'll tell you a bit about the social life before this side of the tape runs out. There's loads to do. Yeah, I haven't been round everything yet. There's just so much. I've been out every night since I arrived. I'm absolutely shattered. But there's just no time to go to bed. And you want to get up early the next morning and enjoy the sun and everything there is to do, you know. Let's see, I've been swimming so far. This is just all on the base itself, on the Whittaker compound. So it's really only for the Whittaker employees and their guests. You know, they can have one guest from another company, or like there's several other companies, American companies, Lockheed, Northrop, engineering companies and things like that. So you can invite one guest from around there if you know anybody, but as yet I don't know anybody. Recreation hall itself is very large. It's got a fountain in the middle of it. On one side is the swimming pool with you know, you can sunbathe there and everything. It's really nice. I'll take some photos anyway later on and be able to see it. Then they've got the snack bar in the recreation room. You can buy light meals and drinks. Then next to the snack bar you've got your video and audio room where you get videotapes from America. You get things like MASH and Agony, Happy Days, and films, documentaries about the pyramids, all sorts of things you can get. You know, Starsky and Hutch, and get practically anything. The companies pass them around from one to the other, so if there's a good tape going, you know, we see it, and there's new tapes sent over every fortnight or something. It's really good. The system works out very well. Next to that is the games room. They've got pool and table tennis in there, and darts. Next to that is the library, which is just all fiction, and they have daily papers in there as well, so you can read the daily news. It's usually about 3 or 4 days old, but at least you can read what's been happening in the world. Can't really get BBC worldwide service very well on this during the day. I can only listen about 11 o'clock at night. I get the 8 o'clock news then. So I know what's happening roughly in the rest of the world. Next to that is the film theatre. They show a different film every night. It's been very good so far. Like we had Inspector Clouseau the other day, you know, Peter Sellers. Absolutely hilarious. And they had The Other Side of Midnight with George Peppard. That was good. They have all sorts on. It's really good. They've already had Saturday Night Fever, and they're waiting for Grease to arrive. Tape will be running out soon. So, other recreational facilities. There's horse riding. I was riding today on an Arabian steed. Magic it was. I was on the most placid one of the lot, and by goodness did it want to go. Very highly strung. They must all be thoroughbreds, I think. There's another 11 due to arrive soon, apparently, but they're really unbroken. You know, they haven't been ridden ever before, so I don't fancy riding any of them. Not for a while, anyway. I get to know this really placid one a bit better, I think, and train it my way. Oh, I must tell you, they have weekends down the Red Sea. I'll probably be going this weekend. They go camping down the Red Sea. You really have to rough it, you know. There's no snack bars or anything en route, so you take everything you want to eat and